go. And now, let me introduce you to Martha Ramsay, owner of Ramsay Law Firm. Martha. Oh, that was nice, Weldon. That was
nice. Thank you very much,
thank you for
Joe.
being here.
I'm
We
so
appreciate it.
excited to be here.
So everything you just heard at the beginning of the show, I apologize. I'm happy that you still stayed.
I was just amazed at the tips that I saw and was writing some down for my own business.
So, Martha, thank you for being here. We have not met.
We have not.
You and Danny have done some business together in the
We
past.
have.
And so, when I talked to Danny, he said, "Joe, I've got somebody we got to get on the show." And when Danny says that, I listen.
He's a smart guy.
Because Danny deals with a lot of attorneys.
He does.
So when he told me Martha was somebody to talk with, I kind of believed him.
Well, good. I'm glad that he did.
So,
and I'm glad you believed him.
So Ramsay Law Firm, give us a little idea of what it is you guys do.
So we represent people who've been injured. And primarily, we focus on workers' compensation, representing people who've been injured on the job. But we also represent a lot of folks who've been injured catastrophically in motor vehicle accidents or people who've been injured in other ways.
So, Danny, I don't think you know this. Now, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble because small business people, we hate women like this. She's the one who brings the workers' comp to us when we swear that Wilton was never hurt. I did not hurt Wilton, you understand.
You should actually love me because I'm getting a return on the premiums that you're forced to pay anyway through the state of North Carolina. And what it means is if you can make the insurance company do the right thing and honor all the premiums you paid, you're going to get your employees back healthier and you're going to get them back quicker. If you have a bad insurance company, it's taken more time, your employees are out longer, and they're not getting good medical treatment.
And you are correct. I was picking on you because the truth is workers' comp actually saves a lot of liability money for us small business people. So it absolutely is a very good, healthy thing. It was set up years ago to actually help us small business people.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's good you know the knowledge of the history of how the Workers' Compensation Act started.
No, I don't. Give it to me.
Oh, well, it was actually a compromise between labor and management back in the 1930s where owners wanted to be protected from being sued for being negligent.
Right.
But workers needed to have some protection and rights. So there was a compromise which says if you're injured on the job, you can't sue your company separately under the civil action for damages or for liability, but you can recover the benefits that are promised you under the Workers' Compensation Act.
Got it. And I've always known that it's actually a good, healthy thing for small business people. It actually is a cheap insurance for most of us small business people.
And I'm horrified when I see the owners opt out because it's a great, like you said, Joe, cheap option for owners to protect themselves, especially anyone who's traveling. You know, if you're driving in your car right now and you're listening to this radio station, you need to be making sure that you're on your workers' compensation coverage because if you're involved in a motor vehicle accident, you'll have coverage through your workers' compensation as well as possibly having a claim against the person who was at fault for the accident.
And I'll just throw in, as a business owner, it makes me feel great knowing that my employees would be covered by something like that.
You took the words right out of my mouth and out of my mind, Danny, which was it allows me to sleep at night. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because the liability would just be ridiculous.
Well, and I've also sued some uninsured employers, and that's always sort of heartbreaking because I see people having to sell a lot of business assets to be able to satisfy what insurance should have paid for if they just paid the premium. You know, we're talking about having to pay all of the doctor's bills and all of the lost time out of pocket from the business.
It's not worth the risk. Get workers' comp.
Right, which is funny that I'm selling insurance because I sue insurance companies all the time. So there's that dichotomy.
Right. But that's what this show is all about. We are trying to educate them, and I'm here to tell you, in my experience, it is the best, cheapest protection you could have. In most cases, there are some industries which are ridiculously expensive, but that's because the liability is so large.
Exactly right. The construction industries, the roofing industries, guys on scaffoldings, all of those premiums are going to be larger, but that's because the risk is so much larger.
And your entire livelihood is at risk if you don't have workers' comp. It's not worth the risk.
Absolutely. I've It's interesting as a small business owner, I see both sides of it, right? I
Right.
pay my workers' compensation premium, but I also sue businesses all the time. And I've shut businesses down who don't have proper workers' compensation coverage and had a catastrophic injury for one of their employees. I mean, I've had guys shoot nail guns shoot in their eye. I've had nail
Oh,
guns shoot in the knee. I've
oh.
had horrible burn injuries. I've had explosions. I've had lots of falls. So, everyone thinks it's not going to happen, but I've seen that it does.
Okay, so Danny, I don't appreciate you bringing a woman in here that's put people out of business. You understand that, don't you? Right? Okay. And
Your
but
business matters.
that's right. That's
Protect it.
You're exactly right. Protect it. Get the workers' comp. It's absolutely worth of. Let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
You didn't wake up one day and realize you want to put people out of business, right? So walk me through how you got into workers' comp.
Oh, absolutely. I was a lawyer and doing a variety of things, child custody, traffic, business, and got into the workers' compensation arena because what I found was I could really make the biggest difference to people. Someone out of work, someone who needs medical
Right.
treatment, I can get them that help for medical care. I can get them time to cover their expenses while they're out of work from an insurance company. And, they get better. They go back to work, their bills are paid, and they're very grateful. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of just working with everyday people and helping everyday people, get back up off the ground out of the worst time in their life.
So we've only got about 30 seconds till we go to break. If somebody finds themselves needing workers' comp assistance, how can they reach you?
Oh, they should absolutely call the Ramsay Law Firm, 704-376-1616.
One more time.
704-376-1616. My staff is there. They'll ask you some quick questions. We'll decide if we can help you and set up a consultation with me.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk some more with the marvelous Martha Ramsay of Ramsay Law Firm. We'll be right back. Martha is with the Ramsay Law Firm. And I'm kind of believing like you're like the tip of the pinnacle of workers' comp. Oh, nice, Wilton.
Very nice. That's why I slipped him that extra money up front. For sure.
So how long have you been doing this?
Oh gosh, I've been doing this for over 30 years.
You don't. The age doesn't.
Absolutely.
Danny looks old.
We
You don't
lie
look old.
about it forever. We will lie about it. But yeah, I've been doing it a long, long time, and has been really interesting. Kind of how the way you can advance and represent different types of folks over the years. And I've been fortunate to represent some NFL players in the past.
Well, and Danny and I, we were talking about that at a break. Let's talk about that because I think I told you I had no idea that professional sports athletes still fall underneath workers' comp. I would have never thought that.
Right. So the collective bargaining agreement in the NFL actually carves out the rights between the players and management, right? We know that owners get 51% and players get 49%, take of all the revenue. The 49% for the players is divided into what they get paid for benefits, medical, health, then their salaries, the salary cap. But part of that money, the 49%, goes to providing workers' compensation coverage for the NFL players.
I had no idea.
Isn't that interesting?
It is very, because I just assumed all of their bills were simply paid by the teams.
So when they're under the collective bargaining agreement and they're under a contract with the team, that's correct. The team is responsible for paying 100% of their bills and their paragraph 5 salary is what we call it. Under the collective
Don't you
bargaining.
love the way she says paragraph 5, section 2?
Salary, section 2.
Salary. Don't do that, Martha. We can't keep up with you when you do that, okay?
Under the collective bargaining agreement. But when they're out of a contract, what are their rights? So if a player gets released when he's injured, if a player has a surgery with the team and then needs more rehab afterwards, what do they do, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road?
Right.
What kind of protection is there for these players who have given up their body, for the sport that we love?
Right. Yeah. So you love football?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm a football fan.
Yeah.
Certainly do enjoy the Panthers, although not recently. But yes, enjoy watching them play. It is interesting that I get a different point of view of it because, everyone here will see a big hit, right? And you'll see the guy get
That's
up and
right.
walk away. We'll go, oh, big hit. And then he gets up and he walks away, and you're
And
like,
you
oh,
get a phone
he's
call
good.
Monday afternoon.
Yeah, I see what really happens to those guys later
Right,
on, and what
right.
happens to them down the road. So it has made football slightly less enjoyable for me, but I really enjoy, again, helping the players make sure that they're protected and their families are protected for the future.
So, is this any professional sport that workers' comp still has to play a role?
Yeah, the way the collective bargaining agreements are for Major League Baseball and for basketball and for hockey, workers' compensation benefits are a protected right under all those professional agreements. So any of those professional athletes can file. I'm the NFLPA panel attorney for the Carolina Panthers. So I'm able to, advise football players, but certainly we learn a lot about the collective bargaining agreements for other athletes, and there is an interaction between the workers' compensation benefit and the collective bargaining agreement, which I have to be trained on and am aware of.
Do you get involved in that actual negotiation of those details?
I don't. I leave that all to the guys in Washington and the labor
Okay.
law folks. So I'm focusing on how it
But I
applies
would
to
think you
workers'
have
compensation
opinions
here.
on some of those things in the
On
way they're
those
being written up. I mean, very few people have your level of experience, right, to do this.
Well, you know what is interesting? Recently, I have been asked to help with some legislative changes at the North Carolina legislature and negotiating some of the terms of proposed changes between business and between injured workers.
Right.
And so that's been very interesting as well. So a little bit of everything, but honestly, going back, what I really like is just making sure that people are protected.
You have a
Yeah,
question?
well, I just wanted to jump in. One of the reasons I honestly wanted Martha to join us on the show, I've had the opportunity to work with you guys for a couple of years, and this to me is something that I think is super applicable for every business, law or otherwise, which is I have always been just really impressed by your sort of commitment to systems and organization as you build your team. Because you have very successfully built a team. You have a great team. And one thing I'm always impressed with, and I'd love if you could share a little bit about maybe how you approach this or why you started thinking about this. You document processes and you have systems in place, and it makes it possible for you to grow your team and have really a team of a lot of really great folks. So talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. Procedures are crucial in any kind of business. I mean, I'm old, I forget, but my staff also forgets, and we need to have an agreement on how we're going to do things. So we spend a lot of time in implementing procedures. I have a good friend, Chris Prigmore, who has helped me develop those procedures over the years and put it into place for us. And we use those procedures every day. They're just access on our computer that everyone has access to. And we're like, what are we supposed to do in a settlement
Yeah,
disbursement?
and we'll have a conversation about marketing. And your thought is, the first place you go is, okay, how do we update the procedure for that?
How do
Which
we update the procedure
I
for
just
that?
love that way of thinking. And
It's
Joe,
very, very rare in small business. For what you're describing, as a matter of fact, is very rare.
Well, you're usually so busy running the business that you forget to develop the business and you
Right.
forget to take the time to put those procedures in place to protect the business. But I love that you bring that up, Danny. It's really helped me grow it, helped me scale it so that I don't have to be the only one
gives you some
teaching my
balance in life.
staff
Yeah.
everything. I can say, the procedures, read that, follow this, and go forward.
well, and I've heard Joe say many times, like, if you want to build a business that grows in value and one day you can sell,
Yeah.
right? It can't all be on your shoulders, right, Joe?
Especially a business like hers, where she is the one with all the knowledge, right? And if you've got policy and procedures, she can start to share that knowledge and information and where others can find it. It's very helpful in the future when she's ready to slow down, step back. She'll have a lot of value there.
Well, that's
Well done.
thank you for complimenting me
Yeah,
on that. I
well
wasn't
done.
necessarily thinking about the sale of
Oh,
my
yeah,
business, but I
absolutely.
see that that's already been put in place.
Yeah, you're doing well. Okay, I got a question from Facebook.
Okay.
What if they're back to the professional?
Right.
They like the Panther thing, right?
All right.
What if it is perceived as an intentional harm from another player? They're giving the example of Lawrence Taylor or Joe Theismann.
Oh,
Does that happen where even though we're in a professional setting, it was an intentional hurt?
yeah. So I actually recently mediated a case for a well-known player where we had a variety of injuries. Right, we had the concussion, we had an ankle sprain, we had a shoulder sprain, but we also had a specific hit. There was a penalty on the other player. We were playing the Falcons. a specific hit and a penalty. And that's still compensable as a workers' compensation claim. And in fact, even more because it's
you
something.
lost me with compensable.
Oh, sorry. It should be accepted and paid by the workers' compensation insurance company
Interesting.
because it's an injury by accident. It's something unlooked for and outside of the normal course and scope of employment. So because it was a foul, it's beyond the rules of the game. So that absolutely makes it an accidental injury.
So Danny, every time we see a yellow flag, I'm gonna start thinking Martha
Call
might get him
Martha.
some money. Martha might get him some money.
Call Martha. You see the flag go?
When you see the
Call
flag, think of Martha.
There you go. Exactly right. Exactly right.
That was a great question. I would have thought about that. You got another question, Danny? You want to ask?
I like I said, the conversation around systems and all of that, I just think is so important. So I would love it.
It's very rare in professional service businesses to
Yeah.
have that. That really is rare and unique, and it really will allow you to have a better lifestyle. It will also allow you to have an operational business and you hit on it, that you're not retraining an employee every single time somebody leaves.
So then my question was going to be, how does someone get started, right? Because we have a lot of business owners who listen to this, who's maybe a one-man shop, two-man shop. How would you advise someone to get started? Because it can feel overwhelming.
Great question.
Right?
It can feel overwhelming. And what I would just say is start with whatever you have because it's all going to change at some point. And that was my biggest flaw at the beginning was I wanted to have it to be perfect. I wanted it to have all the chapters and all the things outlined. But what I realized over time is just have anything in writing. And then you can build. It's a live document. It's going to grow. It's going to change as you get different employees, as you change your procedures, it's going to come in and change. So just recognize that it's not going to be perfect. There might be stuff that's outdated. That's okay. When you go to train on that or someone goes to train on it, we'll update it as we go. So think of it as kind of a live, breathing document and just start with whatever you have.
And that could be part of the policy. If there's an area in which is in question, here's how we review it.
Exactly right. I say to my staff, we don't understand this. Let's come together. Let's talk about it. We agree on what it is. And I say, who's going to write the procedure for that? And then they're charged with going back and putting that into writing.
Well, in a lot of cases, that leads to really interesting conversations where you rethink, right? Like,
Yes.
What is the best way to do this? And how can we provide a better experience for our clients, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, sometimes when I see it in writing what my staff wrote up for me, I then realize, oh, I'm missing an opportunity here. I could have seen this. We could also do it this way. And then I'm able to see it and kind of make a modification to it and then republish that back out to everybody. And we're like, oh, yeah, we are all on the same page. Literally, we're all on the same page.
Right. So we've only got a few seconds. So if there's somebody out there that's been harmed and they feel like maybe not, right? Give me, what are they looking for? What makes me want to pick up the phone and call you, right? What's different about that?
You want to call me if you are worried about being able to go back to your job. You want to call me if you had a work injury that required a surgery. For sure, you absolutely want to speak. Even if you don't call me, call some attorney about your workers' compensation
call
injury.
Martha.
But those to me are the two most significant criteria
Okay.
in evaluating whether you should call an attorney.
If you can't get back to work,
Can't
give
get
Martha
back to
a call.
work or had a surgery.
Martha Ramsay with Ramsay Law Firm. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
See you next week.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville, W264CU Statesville.